Hello guys, we're going to be going over the rubric today for the tank game milestone 1 review. So we have the tank exist in valuable area. Here we go. Here's a little tank. There's the enemy tank. It moves, it shoots other little tanks. There's explosions. It just, it does what tank games do. They move like tanks. And then the little dude explodes and dies. Alright, let's break it down. So first, player input and player controller. So here I have the player controller. There's the player input in there. And we'll check it out here. So here we have player controller. The input get key axis, whatever. Next, we have movement and separate tank or mover. So the movement that I used for the separate tank or whatever was in the camera controller. So he moves a tank, but it's not actually directly attached to him. So here's a script in the code camera controller. So when you move left and right, look, mouse X, mouse Y, it rotates the player around and then it matches its rotation so that they move together, but they're separate. They're in separate little identity things. So next, I didn't use a simple move because I didn't have a character controller, so I don't have that part. Movement uses transform.rotate. I just showed it, it's right here. Target.rotate, and the target is a transform, as you can see here. Transform. Next, tank variables are exposed for designers and separate tank data component. Here we have the little separate tank data component that gets the tank stats to the player controller. It gets the shooting stats to the shooter controller. It gets the camera options to the camera controller. Here's the camera controller. Here's the player controller and the shooting manager. Next, we have shooter component files. Okay, wait. Tank variables are recorded. So shooter component fires shells in direction tank cannon or tank is facing. So I demonstrated that earlier in the video. Here we have a little tank. Whatever direction it's facing is whatever direction he shoots. And the code for that is right here in the shoot manager. So it spawns a little bullet right in front of the player, right here in this line of code. And then the bullet moves it forward, at force using the rigid body, using the speed that was ran into it when it was instantiated. Let's see what's next. Okay, shooter component limited in fire rate using one of the timers covered in class. So yes, you can't just, you can probably hear the mouse. You can't shoot a bunch of times or there will be way more shots, and in fact you can adjust the time so every 1 second he will fire, so he will shoot even slower. And then that's used, one of the timers that was covered in class right here in the shoot manager. The time plus the reload rate and equals timer, so time is greater than timer, then it'll let you shoot again. We'll switch that back down to 0.4. Let's see here, shooter component. Okay, shells collide with other tanks, do damage to other tanks, and track which shooter fired the shell. So yes. So you saw right here, shoots this tank, collides with them, boom, explodes, and then it tracks which shooter by the player points. If you notice, it was at 0 when I started. It's at 0 now. Let's go shoot him, keep track on that. Boom, it becomes 1. And the way it does that is when it shoots the shot, it runs the player into the bullet, and then the bullet runs it into whatever tank it hit, if it's the player, if it's the enemy tank, and then it will pass the shooter, and if they die to that shooter, it will give that person a point. Right now I only have it set up for the player, but then I'm gonna have it set up for enemy tanks also, and cooperative tanks too. Oh, and they use collision, so it's based on a collision, not based on on anything else. So the bullet on collision, enter collision, and then it runs the collision through the game object if they have an enemy tank. So I don't really have to check what else they have. Let's see what else. Shall self-destruct in time after collision with any collider. So yeah, I just showed it right here. So on collision, enter, destroy this, and then if not, you have a little death timer with a lifetime that can be set. That could be that's passed by the player controller or the shoot manager. And that little lifetime is right here, bullet lifetime, and that's located in the game manager right here in the tank stats. So shooting, so bullet lifetime 4, I can set it to 0.1, and then it should just disappear immediately. Shouldn't even leave anything. Set it back, set it to 3 or something. Alright, let's continue. Perfect. Game manager exists, is singleton, and allows easy access to the player tank data component, an updated list of enemy tank data components, and updated list of enemy tank data components. What does that mean? An updated list of enemy player object and an array of enemy tank objects. Okay. So that's very easy to add. And then on enemy tank, now I have this little array of enemy tanks, and on spawn enemy tanks. Frick. My bad. Alright, and as you can see, it added itself onto the list. There's no stats for it. I don't think that was required. Was it? Let's see. Bug free, comments, project organization, giving seats minimum requirements. Alright, I'm not sure if it's enough requirements this time, but I added it's a different camera motion than how it's intended to be. I add a little effects. There's some motion trails and this fire shot. Alright, and then I'll show you. I have this little I created this texture for these bullets, and it's got specular maps, it's got a little normal map, it's got those little motion trail, it's got the little explosion, and here's the little images that I create that I use. So we have the material right here's the bullet, and then I have it in the textures right here. Here's my organization for all of this, so there's nothing just roaming around. I have everything in its own little thing. Organization, everything's commented. Here's all the comments. What else? It's bug free because it plays. You guys saw it play. Let's check the console. Nothing missing. Oh, it also locks the mouse in the center of the screen, so it doesn't. But if you press escape, then it just lets you go. There we go. So yeah, that's it. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video.